Hi, it's Donna here with Queen and Company, and I am going to be showing you how to put together all of the bows from Beautiful Bows. I first recommend taking out all of your bow dies, and as you can see, I'm going to be bending the paper. Make sure you don't bend your die. And this guide that I have in the background that I'm about to lay each die on is the exact size of the dies. And I'm taking all of the inside of the bows and setting them to the side, and I'm going to put those on last. So make sure you cover this entire page with all of your dies. And then, like I said, I wait until the very end here to go ahead and add in all of the inside of the bow pieces. I just found that's much easier than trying to organize them at the time of pulling them off. So once I see that all of the different sizes are together, I started from largest to smallest and placed them all in that section. The next step that I'm going to do is I am going to label all of my dies. So I use a little rechargeable etching tool, an engraving tool. You can also use a permanent marker. I've just found that over time these rub off. So as you can see, some of the dies are for two different bows, so that 5 and 6 bow die on top. So I'm just putting a 5 and a 6 or a 4 and a 5 on each of the dies. So I'm going to go ahead and finish labeling all of these. And once I label them and use this guide, I don't really need this sheet again, but of course I'm going to save it with all of my other sheets just in case for some reason I need to look something up. So finish labeling all of your pieces, and then you can go ahead and cut out your bows. I'm using the Jolly Jingles paper pad set, and the first bow I'm going to create is bow number 1. So I've cut out these 3 dies from the Jolly Jingles paper set, and I am using my Queen and Company tool to curl the paper. As you can see with this one, I did it 2 different ways on both sides, so you can either curl them individually or all together, and I found that both worked just fine. So I just wanted to try it each way to see if one worked better. I'm using a white craft glue. You can also use glue burrs. You can use little pieces of red liner tape if you don't have time to hold things to dry. I found that the fast drying, like a white craft glue that doesn't dry tacky, works best for me. It just takes a little time to hold each of these pieces down. And I'm also going to be incorporating some of the mini clothespins to help me dry. So with this one, as you can see, I started at the bottom and worked my way up to glue down each of the bow pieces. And I kind of held it for a second between gluing. And now that I have them all glued down, I am going to pin them together and let them dry. I'm curling the inside of my bow piece, and I am now going to layer the back, the tails of my ribbon, and then the inside of my bow. And I like to coordinate. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of fun to see everyone's different way of doing this, but I like to coordinate matching inside of the bow to my bow tails. And then you can just go ahead and curl everything up once you're done. So I'm using my Queen and Company tool here to just simply pop up the inside of that ribbon again and kind of fluff up the sides of my bows. For bow number 2, again, you are going to be using 3 different cutouts, and these are also from Jolly Jingles paper pad set. So I am curling those together, adding a little white glue, pushing them down. Some of the bows you'll need glue in the center and then glue again on the top piece depending on how it layers. This is one of them where you needed to glue it twice. So you need to pay attention on if they overlap or if they meet in the middle. And I am also curling the inside of my ribbon again You can use that tiny little piece. I did that with some of them just to give it a nice little curl. And then add your glue to the ribbon tails and let that dry for a sec. So like I said, you can either hold it down with your finger tools, or I have found these little clothespins help. You can also use a pen with a cap on it. So that little section where that little cap piece, you know, where you hook on your jacket pocket or your office shirt, that little piece can also act as a little holder to help your bows dry. So I just do like a little extra fluffing at the end and then I'm done. For bow number 3, again, there are just 3 pieces to cut out, and I'm just repeating the same process, curling my ribbon pieces, adding a little adhesive, and I've caught on now, I'm adding a little adhesive to the inside and on both of the bow ends. So you do get your little fingers a little gluey sometimes, but that's okay. It's all part of the fun. So I glued those 2 together, letting those dry for a second, and then I'm going back and curling the inside ribbon piece before I go ahead and apply it to my bow. Once you make all of these for the first time, the process of putting them together is pretty simple. Something with adding that middle piece is you want to make sure they're even. So once you glue them on the back, you want to make sure both pieces are even. For bow number 4, there are 5 pieces. I really love this bow, the way it came out, all the different layers. It's very cute. So I'm going to curl layer number 1, glue that together, and this is one of them where the 2 pieces just meet in the middle. You don't have to glue them on top of one another. So with this, I'm gluing one down, and then I'm curling the next one. This process is a little bit different for bow number 4, so make sure you pay attention to that. You want to add glue to the section in the middle and then on both sides, and then you're layering it on top of that first bow. So I'm now bringing it and just putting adhesive in the center and on the bow ends, and you get that really nice layered look. And then same with this third piece. As the other 2 pieces are drying, I'm just going to curl that ribbon, add some adhesive in the center, and then take that off, kind of fluffing it up a little bit, and then adding that third layer together. Grab my little clip to let those dry. As you can see, I'm making sure that it's centered. So that's why I flipped it over and just made sure that piece before I permanently glued it down. I just wanted to make sure it was in the right position before letting the glue set. Curling my centerpiece. You also have an option with all of these of adding your centerpiece just to the ribbons or to the ribbon tail and the ribbons together. And that's what the die guide has you do. But I believe on the last one here, I just put it on the actual ribbon. So you see here, you got to make sure that the piece is even so it looks nice and symmetrical in the front. So there's the first 4. Bow number 5, you have 5 pieces, and this is a really fun one too. You're going to go ahead and repeat the process. I'm sure you've noticed a pattern here. This is, I think, one of my favorite. At this moment, this is definitely one of my favorite bows. I like the layered of the ribbons and the actual bow itself, so it's very cute. I think I might love the snowflake paper that I chose for this as well. That might be adding to my love for this bow. So curl the first one, let it dry, curl the second one, and again, you're going to add adhesive just to the center and to the sides, and then you're going to layer that on top of your first bow here that I'm fluffing up a little bit. So layer that down. I'm using my finger tools, making sure that's nice and even on the back before I go ahead and add these pieces. And then let that set. And now I'm going to layer up the ribbon tails. Really simply just layer these two together. And you can always like curl up those bottom pieces to add a little bit more dimension to your bow as well, which will be really cute. I am now taking this inside bow piece. This is a nice long skinny one. And then gluing the ribbon and the tails together. I'm just holding that for a second to let that dry before I go and add my inside of my ribbon. And now I'm just going to curl that on, make sure that's nice and even, and we are all set. It just turned out so cute. I love that one. There we go. Okay, for ribbon number 6, I've got my 4 pieces. This is a really fun one too. And I'm curling this large piece. So you want to start with the large piece here. I'm curling all 4 pieces in, and then you're going to be gluing each of the 4 pieces to that center square section. So one at a time you can glue them down. They're all kind of meeting in the middle. So I am figuring out, do I want to do these 2 first? So yeah, so I did the first 2, kind of glued them down, then added the second 2 and got them all in the pin, the little clothes pin here, one at a time. Squished them all in there, and now they have a little place to dry. All right, curl number 2. And again, this layers right on top. No, I take that back. This guy gets all folded together, and then the 2 completed pieces get layered on top of one another. This is why it helps to look at the die guide, right? All the tips and tricks are laid out for you, which is fabulous. So let that glue. I'm just going to pin that down for a second. Let those dry, and while those are drying, I'm curling my center bow, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my bottom piece, add that center bow to it, make sure it's nice and even, and then these bows, this all just gets layered onto each other. So again, very important to check out your die guide. I've got my 2 light pinks, and then I'm going to layer on this one on top, and there you have it. Bow number 6. Okay, bow number 7. This is a really fun one too. It's got a different center of the bow, which is going to be cute to incorporate with the other bows as well. I definitely anticipate some fun, unique combinations. So I just put a little glue in the center here, and then I'm kind of folding up my pieces. That one's a little shaped differently, so kind of hard to get the clothespin in it. So I just held it for a couple seconds to let the glue set. And this one here, we are layering them. So now that that's set, as you saw, I put the glue in the center and then a little bit on the edge of the ribbon. And now I'm just going to hold that down. So I'm holding it in my fingers as I'm putting some glue on my ribbon tails, giving it a little extra push down, and then here is that really fun burst for the center of my ribbon, and this is a really cute one too. Bow number 8, our final bow. I am taking these 2 pieces, so this is the only die bow that it has you cut out 2. So these long white ones that actually look like ribbon, you have 1 die for, and you cut 2 of them. I actually think it would be fun to cut out several and layer them and see how that turns out, like a gift bow, like something that you put on a gift box would be really cute. Okay, so let that dry, the first one, and then go ahead and repeat. I put the glue just in the center there. I match up these 2 pieces. This bow as well as one that you have to pay attention to the paper that you select. So as you can see, you're going to see the front of the paper and the back of the paper. So it's important that if you have a paper that has like red in the front and stripes in the back and it doesn't coordinate with the bow that you're going with, you got to be aware, because this bow you're going to see the front and the back. And that's why I chose the white for the top of this bow. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue those two pieces together. And you could kind of play around. Do you want them glued tightly together? Do you want it a little bit more open? So it's up to you. And then I'm just kind of squishing them together, letting that glue dry, and then adding the inside of my bow. So I was doing a little red, white, and green theme for this last one. And then taking my bow ribbon tails, finishing that off. I'm just adding a little extra pressure, and then I like to go in and pop up that inside, and we're all done. There are your 8 beautiful bow foundations. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video.